Emily had only been a nurse for 3 weeks. Her hands still trembled slightly when she administered medication, and every new procedure felt like a high-stakes exam. Tonight, however, was a different kind of test. Tonight was her first night shift, assigned to the infamous St. Mary's Hospital. The building itself was a relic, a hulking monument to a bygone era. Its antiquated facade loomed under the dim streetlights, casting long, skeletal shadows. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of old disinfectant and something else, something indefinable and unsettling. The walls, once white, had yellowed with age, their surfaces stained with countless forgotten stories. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a sickly, flickering glow that made every shadow dance with a life of its own. The endless corridors stretched out before her, empty and silent, amplifying the oppressive quiet. A senior nurse, her face etched with years of night shifts, gave Emily a quick, perfunctory tour during handover. Her voice was flat, devoid of warmth, as she pointed out various stations and supply closets. They passed a particular door, its paint peeling, the number 6 barely visible on a faded plate. The senior nurse didn't pause, but her gaze flickered towards it, a momentary hesitation in her otherwise brisk stride. "Don't bother with this one," she stated, her voice suddenly sharper. "Renovations." She continued walking, but her next words hung heavy in the air. "Just stay away from room 6. Emily noticed the senior nurse avoided eye contact with the door as she spoke, her jaw tight. A shiver traced its way down Emily's spine, a premonition of something deeply wrong. Hours crawled by in an oppressive silence, broken only by the distant hum of machinery and Emily's own soft footsteps during her rounds. The hospital felt like a tomb, each breath she took echoing in the vast emptiness. As she passed room 6 again, a sudden, inexplicable chill seized her. She froze, her heart hammering against her ribs. A faint, steady scratching emanated from within the locked room. It was a sound that raised the hairs on her arms, a rhythmic, insistent scraping. It sounded exactly like nails dragging across wood, slow and deliberate. Then, a whisper, so soft it was almost imperceptible, yet it cut through the silence like a razor. "Emily." The sound was barely a breath, a fragile tendril of sound reaching out to her. Emily gasped, her blood turning to ice. No one here knew her name. Emily stumbled back to the nurse's station, her voice shaking as she recounted the incident to the senior nurse. Her words tumbled out in a rush, laced with a terror she couldn't hide. The senior nurse listened, her expression hardening with each word. There was no sympathy, no concern, only a cold, dismissive stare. "Ignore it," she said, her voice flat and devoid of emotion. "Everyone hears things here. Do your rounds." The words were a command, a stark reminder of her place and her duty. Emily felt a wave of despair wash over her. Her fear was real, palpable, yet it was being brushed aside as if it were nothing more than a figment of her imagination. The senior nurse turned away, leaving Emily alone with her escalating dread. The whispers returned, persistent and insidious, weaving their way into the fabric of the night. They seemed to follow Emily, a phantom presence that clung to her every step. Each time she passed room 6, the faint scratching resumed, a relentless rhythm against the silence. At 3 in the morning, the voice from room 6 returned, but this time it was different. It was weaker, trembling, imbued with a desperate urgency that pierced Emily's resolve. "Please, let me out. Emily, hurry, before they come." A profound internal conflict raged within Emily. Her hands shook uncontrollably as she fumbled for the heavy ring of keys on her belt. Fear screamed at her to run, to ignore the plea, but a powerful surge of compassion, mixed with a terrifying curiosity, compelled her forward. With a trembling hand, she inserted the key and unlocked the door. The room was a void of darkness, a suffocating blackness that swallowed the faint light from the corridor. A sickening reek of mold and decay assaulted Emily's senses, making her gag. As her eyes adjusted, she saw them. The walls were smeared with old, dried handprints, dark and grotesque against the peeling paint. In the center of the room, a figure was bound to a rusted bed frame, its limbs secured with thick, grimy restraints. The figure's skin was pale as paper, almost translucent in the gloom. Its eyes, wide and vacant, fixed on Emily. A chilling smile spread across its lips, a grotesque parody of gratitude. "Thank you for opening the door," the figure rasped, its voice now strong and clear, devoid of its previous weakness. "Now you can take my place." Icy hands, impossibly strong, seized Emily. The lights in the room flickered once, then plunged into absolute darkness. Emily's scream was swallowed whole by the sudden, suffocating black. When the lights flickered back on, Emily found herself bound to the rusted bed frame. The restraints dug into her wrists and ankles, cold and unyielding. The figure that had been there moments before was gone, vanished without a trace. A gag was forced into her mouth, silencing her desperate cries. She could not move, could not speak, could only stare at the locked door, a prisoner in the very room she had just opened. Moments later, the senior nurse passed by room 6, her footsteps echoing in the corridor. She didn't pause, didn't even glance at the door. Her voice, a low murmur, drifted through the thin wood. Another one who didn't listen. The heavy door slammed shut, plunging Emily back into the suffocating darkness. The horror was cyclical, a relentless, unending loop. St. Mary's Hospital held sinister secrets, a terrifying reality hidden beneath its decaying facade. Emily's descent into this nightmare was complete, a chilling testament to the hospital's insatiable hunger. The suspense, the isolation, the terrifying unknown had consumed her, making her the newest victim in a cycle that had no end.